Everything is working. Even the grinder is working. So again guys, ang topic natin for today, it's a very important, it's a very foundational topic that will save you a lot of time. Okay? Actually, while we were not really preparing, while we were talking before this workshop, sabi nga ni Mrs. dapat gawin nyo ganito, ganito, ganyan. Kasi kung hindi, magsasayang lang kayo ng oras. Which is exactly what I have in this workshop. Okay? So, tamang-tama. So again, sige. Right now, we are still in Las Piñas. Siguro sa next workshops, hindi na kami sa Las Piñas. Nasa ibang lugar na kami. Pero kayo guys, nasaan ba kayo ngayon? Where are you based? Para may idea ako kung nasaan kayo. Anong time zone ba kayo? This is our Thursday section. Jeffrey is from Bulacan. Okay. Miss Patricia is in QC. QC. Very good city. Ayun. Miss Jael is in Hong Kong. JC is in Davao. Okay. Okay. Sir Manuel in Cavite. Okay. Nice. Jamie is also from Bulacan. Okay. Very good. Nasaan yung mga OFWs? Actually, just to give you guys a background, the reason why there's a Thursday 2 p.m. section is because a lot of OFWs have told me that the Saturday 8 p.m. section is not that parang nahihirapan sila umattend, which is why sabi ko kung 8 p.m. nahihirapan sila, let's try 2 p.m. So marami namang OFWs na nagsabi 2 p.m. pwede. Ang concern ko lang dito, 2 p.m. nga pero weekday naman, so baka yung iba may work kaya hindi nakapunta. Anyway, hindi naman set in stone to kasi we can always adjust kung ano yung kailangan nyo or nung nas nakahararami sa inyo so that mas madali for you guys. Okay? Let's see. Miss Lourdes, hi. Okay, yan, tama. Si Miss J, tama ba? JL, OFW siya from Hong Kong. So, ang schedule na to, sakto. Okay, very good. Okay. Miss Jeneline is from Doha, Qatar. Yun. Actually, marami kaming friends, tsaka maraming from the previous batches na from Qatar also. Ayun, si Miss Lourdes from Honolulu, 8 p.m. there. Okay. Hi to everyone in Honolulu. Okay. Malapit ang Honolulu sa Guam, di ba? Okay. Kasi meron tayong isa rin.
Siguro.
Oo. Kasi meron tayong yung magkapatid, sila Ram, tsaka si Dudes. I think sa Guam at nandito yung isa. Okay. Okay, anyway. It's already 2:05, so let's start so that we can finish and have a lot of time for questions and answers. Okay? So before we start, malinaw ba? Kamusta ang audio namin? Is it very clear or may konti bang delay or mabilis? Of course, nga pala hindi nila malalaman kung may delay. Malinaw ba? Just type in the chat if it's clear or not. Clear? Clear ba, guys? Clear. Very good. Okay. Okay, so lahat clear. How about, do you see my slides? The slides, my first slide is the first thing you need to do before finding properties. Can you see the slides? Okay, just want to make sure that everything is working before we start. Okay, yes. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, Jael. Okay. Miss Jenaline says, hindi po. Oh. Jenaline. Si Miss Jenaline, hindi niya nakikita yung slides. Oh, alam ko na. Kung naka-mobile po kayo, hindi, kita ko kagad eh. From my phone kasi. From my phone, kita ko kagad yung slides. So, ayan. Ito kasi yung test account ko. Kita kagad yung slides. So, kay Miss Jenalyn, desktop po. Oh. Naka-install ba, Miss Jenalyn, yung Zoom sa inyo? Okay. Kasi isa yun sa requirement ng Zoom. Okay. Anyway, paano ba to? Pagka ganun po, reconnect po kayo. Alternative, yung FB group natin, nagla-live stream din right now. So, whatever is shown here on my screen, pati yung audio, nasa FB Live. So, yun yung parang backup natin. Although, meron siya mga 15 seconds to 30 seconds na delay. Okay? Anyway, sige, let's start. So, again, good evening guys. Good evening na sana na. Good afternoon guys. Welcome to the first core module for this batch. And our topic for tonight is the whole topic of how do you find properties, foreclosed properties that have profit potential. Okay? And before you start trying to find those properties, medyo mahaba. We have a long workshop today, and the very first thing we need to cover would be what you need to do before you start looking for properties so you don't waste time. Okay? And ano ba yun? It is clue. The most important things in real estate. Ito yung lagi nilang sinasabi. 3 things. Location, location, location. So, and I agree. Yan ang laging sinasabi ng karamihan, that location is the most important thing in real estate. And it is so true. Why? Because if you don't focus on one location, wala. You will run around in circles. So basically, the first thing you need to do before trying to find suitable, in our case, foreclosed properties, is you need to identify a good location, an ideal target location. And we will cover that in these slides, in this workshop. So basically, location affects just about everything that is ideal when it comes to investing in real estate. The demand and the supply and the market values, these are affected by the location. Okay? Kasi anong case in point? Kahit na napakaganda ng property, pero nasa bad location, do you think yung market value tataas? I don't think so. So, hindi siya talaga magiging tawag dun, hindi magiging maganda yung market values, which is yung pinaka main criteria natin to check if a foreclosed property is a good investment. And which is why you need to find a good location from the very start. Okay? Pasensya na guys kung meron kayong mga naririnig na tok-tok at mga nagga-grinder kasi yung neighbor namin nagre-renovate. Okay? So, what are the things that you should look for in a location? Okay? Deep dive na tayo. Una, high demand and low supply. What do I mean by high demand and low supply? So, let's say, meron kayong tinitignan location, medyo marami yung properties for sale or for rent. Dalawa yun eh, for sale tsaka for rent. And after a while, after a few months, very few of those original list of properties for sale and for rent remain. Few na lang ang natitira. Bakit? Nabibenta or nagiging tenanted yung mga properties na yon. That is a sign there's a high demand. Eh syempre, kung maraming demand at talagang nabibili, talagang nare-rent out, yung supply lumiliit. Which is ideal as, basic economics. High demand, low supply, tataas ang value, tataas ang prices. Okay? And, ano pa ang ideal sa isang location? If you see a lot of new developments, anong tawag dyan? Progress. Kaya nga we should invest in paths of progress. Kasi doon tumataas ang demand and tumataas ang market values. Of course, kahit na ganun, kailangan pa rin safe and secure. Ako, although baka sabihin nyo, subjective. Pero if you think about it, kung hindi safe and secure, it's not really a good long-term investment. Kasi iiwasan nyo yung mga tao or yung quality ng mga tenants and buyers nyo. Hindi maganda kung hindi siya safe and secure. Kasi yun na lang mga bad elements. Sila yung magiging neighbors mo, which is something we all of us do not want, right? Would you want to add something? Oh, okay ka
Parang
pa.
ayoko magbayad ng malaking halaga para sa isang property na parang inopen ko yung pamilya ko sa danger. So, parang mas mabuti na yung mas maliit pero kung secure ka naman versus na let's say malaki pero hindi ka makakatulog ng mahimbing sa gabi.
Yeah.
So, for me, very important yan. Lalo na for families.
Kasi ngayon, iba na yung panahon ngayon. Siguro yung panahon nung maliit ako, pwede pa yun na hindi secure yung mga village. Pero, inherently, mas maraming mga mabubuting tao. Ngayon kasi marami na mga siraulo
O baka naman nababalita lang. Mas nababalita.
Hindi, kasi,
mas marami ng drugs ngayon.
Population kasi, mas malaki.
Yes.
Mas malaki ang, kahit maliit pa rin yung percentage, dumadami yung mga siraulo. Okay?
At may gusto ko sabihin pala, parang prior to looking for the location, kumbaga, you have to be clear na lang muna what you want. So, what do you want? Do you want it to be for rent? Do you want it to be for sale? Kasi minsan, iba yung location na para ipaparent out mo sa location na, let's say, titirahan mo mismo, sa location na ibibenta mo.
Yep.
Na so parang yung purpose muna. So you have to be clear with everything that your purpose for the investment together with siguro kung ano yung capability mo na ma-loan, kung ano capability mo to pay. So parang that will limit yung location na mo.
Yeah.
Na dapat kasi pag maghahanap ka ng property, syempre ang laki-laki, 'di ba? You have to limit it.
Yeah.
You have to make it smaller. So, when you say kasi yan, location, high demand, low supply, parang ang laki pa rin eh. So, dapat you have to be clear muna what you want, what's the purpose, and what your expertise is. The place. So, usually, that is near where you are.
Yeah.
So, kung saan yung mababantayan mo. Tsaka more or less, meron ka ng idea kung ano yung good deal. So, when you say, yung ganyan, in relation to you as a person then, what you know.
Okay.
Tsaka mababantayan mo.
Sige, before we proceed, tanong ko lang guys, sino dito yung nakatapos na nung very first yung module na naka-videos lang sa training area? Kasi, yung nabanggit ni Mrs., it's actually discussed there in one of the topics na how much money do you need to invest in real estate? Yun ang magiging isang guide sa inyo on where you should invest. So, you should only invest or target a location that will be a fit dun sa price range nyo. Okay? So, very good point si Mrs. And I hope you guys have already started going through or at least pasadahan nyo yung first part ng training, yung hindi pa workshop, yung mga online videos. Okay? Can you
Okay. Ano sasabihin ko?
Hello?
Next slide na.
Hello?
Ako daw muna.
Hello?
Pinch hitter. Okay. So, yan ang masasabi ko.
Yes,
Right now, we have the build program of the government. So, more or less, malalaman natin yung
I sent an email
paths of progress.
with all the
Yan. Hi to
links
Norman
to join.
from UAE. Magpo-pause na lang muna kasi hindi ko maintindihan eh.
Can I ask her what your email address is? Oh, we should, let me resend it to you right now so that you can join. Okay. Is this Mr. Nolasco, Chris? Oh, okay. Sorry about that earlier because the workshop is ongoing and I was talking a while ago. Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. I'll send it. Bye. Okay. Sorry, guys. Okay. Because one of the students could not connect or he did not receive the email with the link to the webinar. Okay?
Email it mo na.
Wait.
Kasi naguguluhan ako sa'yo kanina, hindi ako...
Sorry. I couldn't, even if I rejected it several times, he still was calling. Anyway, let me proceed first so that I will pause later so I can send the email to
wait. Gusto ko lang dagdagan dyan sa... Everybody here understands Tagalog. Okay lang. Can I speak in Tagalog?
Let's focus on English because I know one who is...
So, for the Philippines in particular, when we say here growth, a path of progress or path of growth, right now, we have this build program of the government. So, in particular, if you are interested in the South meaning, let's say, the Anghari, say Cavite, diba? The construction for the extension of LRT1 will, I think, already is already starting, and then they will have what you call that, the Calax, then the NAIA X already done, and then we have the Muntinlupa Cavite Expressway. And then there are also developments in Pampanga, let's say, and then also in Tarlac. And then in Mindanao, there are also bridges and roads being done. So we have to be always up to date with the current events and news. So my suggestion is, you know what I do? I follow the page of Mark Villar. I follow the page of DPWH. So, and I think they also have a build page, and also the PPP, the public-private partnership page. I also follow those, so that I will be updated with the paths of progress. So, we're very fortunate in the sense that there are a lot of construction. There's a lot of construction going on, because you have to admit, before the construction, the price is different, and after the construction is done, it is very, very highly unlikely that the price is still the same. And then another thing, I noticed that the big companies like Ayala or DMCI, they also push the development of infrastructure that will go to their properties, diba? For example, DMCI, they also have construction contracts for roads for the Skyway 3. I think that's their project. So they also know what's going to be in store. So they also purchase the properties in those areas. So for me, ako personally, I've seen it. Whenever Ayala says something that they will do, they will really do it. So like Nuvali is just like a big plot of land before. And they were able to fix the South Luzon Expressway because their properties are there. So now, diba, they have a lot. They have Alviera in Pampanga. I'm sure they're gonna fix that. Yeah. They're gonna make sure that their property is going to earn. Okay.
So, pasensya na guys, I just had to address that one of the
Classmate.
students needed the link. I'm not sure why he didn't receive the original invitation. Anyway, thank you for taking over my awesome wife. Let's continue. So, what are the locations to avoid? Kanina, what are the locations that are ideal ngayon? What do we need to avoid? Una, first, the locations that have low demand. Ito very obvious to that. And there are a lot of houses for sale, a lot of houses for rent that remain available for several years. Okay. And, of course, maraming location. There are a lot of locations that have a lot of vacant houses because they most probably are overpriced. But if a location has too many properties that are for sale and for rent, and they stay in the market for a year or two, the location is most probably the big problem. Like, ganito, if you have a lot of properties for sale, they don't get sold and more properties for sale are added in the inventory. That means no one or very few people are buying. Okay, and few people are also renting. So people are avoiding those locations. You can also see a decline. Ano ba yung decline? If the location becomes ugly, becomes dirty, becomes full of vandalism, and the roads are not maintained, so many signs of decline, those are the kinds of locations you should avoid, because it's like the whole location is a foreclosed property, something like that. Okay, no one is buying. Unlike if it's a good location, even if you see an ugly foreclosed property, that's the ideal way of finding properties, where you find the ugliest house in a nice location, not the other way around. Okay? And yun, people should be living in a location, but instead they are actually leaving. Leaving meaning umaalis sila. Okay? And the worst part is kung if that location ends up with so much incidents of crime. Okay? That location before, that village where we lived before, it was a good location, supposed to be, but turns out a lot of houses are burglarized, and then later it became flooded.
That's a bigger issue, because sometimes when you get burglarized, the property is still there, but when the place is flooded, the value really tanks. It really tanks.
And during Ondoy, a lot of burglars were actually going through.
And a lot of
the
people
stuff
died.
inside.
So a lot of people are like, maybe they're thinking
so
they don't want to live in a
we will never live there
infested place.
ever. Okay? And
well, you can never really can tell. Can really tell.
And just to summarize, when choosing a location,
Si Sir Manuel, sabi niya twice na daw siya naghang.
Twice naghang. Ako. Pagka ganun, guys, reconnect. Refresh nyo na lang. You close your... By the way, guys, just to give you tips, please close everything else running in your laptop. Okay? If you have anything running in the background like Dropbox, any email clients, anything that consumes bandwidth, or anything that consumes your laptop's resources, please close them first. Okay? If you're using, of course, you're using a web browser, close all the web browsers tabs except one that is using Zoom. Okay? And then you try again. Okay? Connect again, because sige, let's double check even if I'm running a webinar. Let's see our internet speed. We're now at 30 Mbps, so medyo mabilis. Yun. Shoden is here. Hi, Shoden. Shoden also has some tips. Tell your other family members. Naku, yun nga. If you have other family members using the internet, they might be consuming all the bandwidth. Like, for example, if you have kids who are watching YouTube videos, please tell them to stop muna. Okay? Maybe they're watching Netflix, etc. So, please ask them to stop muna for a few hours only naman, up to 4:30 maximum. Okay? Okay. Miss Patricia has a question. Where's that location? Provident Village, Marikina. Okay? And Miss Lourdes says, where can we find other lists that are not foreclosed? Nako, we will tackle that later. Okay? Okay. Mr. Manuel has a message that says, your internet connection is unstable. Nako, yan ang maganda po. That's the good thing about our webinar platform, Zoom. It detects if your internet is not too fast or it's slow. It will say it's unstable, which means I would suggest Mr. Manuel to reconnect. Maybe that can fix it. Or again, the suggestions earlier, stop anything else that is consuming bandwidth. Stop your family members from consuming bandwidth, and maybe you need to find another connection that is fast. Okay, so let's continue. Again, you cannot fix. You can fix a property, but you cannot fix a location. It's virtually impossible to fix a location unless you're an Ayala or you're Mega World or you are DMCI. DMCI, they're not into townships. Kasi Ayala, they are into townships. They can turn a big location into it. They can turn it around basically and improve the whole area. Okay, we're not yet like that, and I don't think we can do that, which is why we should avoid locations, because we cannot fix locations. We should avoid bad locations. Okay, so you really need to choose wisely. Hindi yung haphazardly, gusto ko dito mag-invest, I want to invest here. No, you have to choose wisely. Okay, Sir Chris Nolasco is already here. Hi, sir. Glad to see that you were able to connect. Okay. Okay, let's continue. So, eto, I received this question just the other day from one of your classmates who is an expat. Okay, he lives here, and they really want to start investing, and he called me up asking for tips, and this is my my answer. Where do you start? You start where you live or where you work. Why? Because that is the location, those are the locations that you are very familiar with. And because you're familiar, you will find it so much easier to study the market. Okay? You don't need to travel far. You're already there. Okay? If you're going to target the locations around where you work, then go to work, and then during break time, visit the vicinity, which is exactly what I did when I was still working in Quezon City. I was working in the Libis area. I would go around Libis and Pasig because they're adjacent. And again, if you live there or you work there, obviously you have unrestricted access, which is critical for you to learn the market in that location. Okay, and if you're always there, you will notice any development. So you will be the first to know if there are any improvements, if there's a new construction, new developments, you will know. Okay, and you need to become an expert, and it's easier to become an expert. What do I mean to become an expert? You're an expert if you already have a good idea of the market values of the rental rates, and because of that, if you see a new property for sale or a new property for rent, you will know you will know right then and there if it's a good deal or a bad deal. You will immediately see it's overpriced or why is it so cheap? It's a good deal. you will know immediately. There's no lag, because if you're going to target a location where you are not an expert, you have no idea if a property for sale is a good deal or a bad deal. Okay? So, as I said, the goal is you will begin to see good deals pretty quickly if you are an expert in that location. Okay? Okay, workshop. 5 minutes. Perfect time for a workshop. So that you guys can start identifying your target locations. Workshop, 5 minutes, list down your possible target locations in your place of work, near your place of work, or where you are located. Okay, list them down, where you live, where you work, and anything, any location on the way. Kasi it's also possible for any villages or subdivisions that you pass through while going to or from work. Okay?
Kasi minsan, let's say, you work in Quezon City and it's so expensive, di ba, yung mga properties doon, medyo mahal siya. Tapos ikaw, you're starting pa lang, you don't want to risk na sobrang laki yung kukuhanin mo for your first project.
Yeah.
So, medyo katabing puok, karatig puok na hindi naman sobrang layo kasi mahirapan ka ring bantayan.
Yeah. Okay. So, 5 minutes. Okay? I also need to go to have a break. Okay?
Okay.
Hold on. Excuse me, mommy. I'm back. Okay. 3 minutes. List them down. Because you really need to identify where you would want to target your next investment properties, okay? Okay. 1 more minute. Pero, sige. While you are still thinking about those locations where you would want to invest in, let me show you how you can become an expert as step by step. Okay, so you have to learn the market, the demand and supply. Again, as I mentioned in the earlier slides, how do you know the demand? You list down all the properties that are for sale or for rent, list them down, keep that list, and wait for a week, 2 weeks, maybe a month, and see how the inventory moves. Meaning, are there properties that get sold quickly? Are there properties that get tenanted quickly? Or do they remain in the market indefinitely? You will have an idea of the demand and the supply. And if the demand is high, supply becomes low, that's a good sign. Next is you need to also determine the price per square meter of vacant lots for sale. Now, this is a very basic thing you need to do if you are going to target house and lots. And in order to determine, that's one part of the equation, the value of the lots. So you need to determine that. Later, I'll show you how exactly to do that. And rental rates, again, list down all properties that are for rent and take note of the rental rates. You will determine the average or the going rate. Okay? And this will be the basis for you to say if a property is a good deal or not, which is why this is very important. Actually, this determines if the location is good, and diving deeper, it will also be the basis to say if a certain property is also a good find for that particular location. Okay? So,
ako, yung, di ba na, last webinar natin, we mentioned the appraisal report.
yeah.
So kasi, when we say we're learning the market, ang kagandahan doon sa appraisal report, nandun na kasi yung yung write-up, medyo let's say Philippines, then city, then barangay, and then for that particular, let's say for that particular village where the clubhouse is, what the amenities are, how near it is to the different schools and the different hospitals, etc., etc. So,
Actually,
not only demand supply, not only price, not only rental rates, the whole all the characteristics
of that
the advantages and disadvantages of that particular location.
Napi-preempt mo yung slides ko.
Ay, sorry.
Anyway, sige. So, has everyone listed down their target locations? Please type in the chat. Yes, yes. I'd just like to know sino ang meron ng idea kung saan sila magfo-focus. Okay. Yan, ang daming yes. Done. Thank you, Norman. Yes, very good. Okay. Actually, just to share what happened to me. Before, I was a strike anywhere guy where when I see a list, as long as the price looks cheap, it doesn't matter where it is, I would analyze it, which is wrong. I was analyzing properties where I had no idea kung good buy ba sila or hindi. And even the location, I had no idea. Okay? Before we proceed, very good guys. Before we proceed, one question from Mr. Chris. Any tips for housing index that can indicate surplus or scarcity in a certain area? Or in certain areas. Naku.
Well, hindi kasi sabi na kasi ng BSP yan. Dati pa, nagagawa sila ng housing index. I've never seen it.
I think they're still working on it. Yeah. But it's something that the Philippines badly needs.
Pero sabi nga nila ngayon, kaya daw na, parang tumataas yung values. At saka parang yung take-up tumataas because of the Chinese factor.
Yes, because of the Chinese.
Ang daming Chinese. Grabe sila bumili.
And, the Chinese are our friends, okay? Even if inuubos nila yung properties natin. Yeah, okay? Sige, let's proceed. Any other, in addition to the pricing index, Mr. Chris, my suggestion also, go back to getting an appraisal, because even if we don't have a pricing index available, the appraiser should be able to provide something close to a pricing index in that particular location. Okay? So, any questions or comments, guys, before I proceed? How about you? Nothing? Let's proceed.
Sabi ko na.
Okay. Ayan. One question from Jeffrey. Sir, question. Paano po malalaman kung sino may-ari ng vacant lot? Meron po kasi sa amin na maganda yung location.
Okay. Sabihin mo?
Sayang, Jeffrey, kasi nasa slides yan. Pero, just to summarize, nasa slides yan pero tinanggal ko kasi hindi siya, Just to summarize, how do you identify kung sino ang may-ari ng vacant lot? Siyempre, first, you know the address. You don't know who it is. Okay? So, with the address, you go to the city assessor's office or treasurer's office where the property is located. Okay? And, next, you go to the tax mapping section. Okay? Ano yung tax? What's the tax mapping section? They have a map of basically all the properties in their city or in their municipality that serves as their quick reference who are the taxpayers, real property taxes, how much are their taxes, and if they are in good standing. And if you know a certain address, go there. They can help you identify it on the map, and then that particular property will have the corresponding tax declaration. Okay? And once you note down that tax declaration number, you can ask for a certified true copy of the tax declaration, which indicates who is the owner, and you can verify also the address, and third, the title number. Okay, so with the title number, you can already proceed to the registry of deeds to get a copy of the title. You will see if that property has already been foreclosed, for example, or it's still owned by the same owner, the original owner, and that's how you can track down who they are. But for the telephone numbers, you have to do some more sleuthing. You can Google, you can do Facebook, you can search, and that's how you find that particular owner of a vacant lot that you don't know who the owner is.
Okay. Another one. I found a lot of properties under BFS foreclosed near our area in one subdivision. Does it mean the area is not good?
Okay. It depends. Okay. You still need to check if a lot of the properties there are ending up being sold or not. Okay. Because there are a number of villages where there's quite a number of foreclosed properties, but you will notice they're selling very fast. Okay, and the next question is, how come a lot of properties ended up foreclosed? Maybe the bank ended up foreclosing a big portfolio because the developer is the one that had problems. Okay, and with that scenario, it's not the location that has a problem, it's the developer. Maybe they did not manage their projects properly, they ended up in foreclosure, and those properties are ended up as the payment for their loans. Okay, so you have to check, okay, if there are still properties there that do get sold, because you have a classmate here who is investigating one subdivision like that, where there's a lot of properties from one bank, and it turns out those properties are getting sold pretty quickly. And the reason why there's a lot of properties under that bank is I believe it's in relation to the developer that did not continue or did not market those properties properly. Okay, so you have to check. Okay. Thank you, Norman, for the questions. Thank you also, Jeffrey. Okay, so let's proceed. Next, syempre, we have to cover this step by step. How do you actually study the market in your target location? Because I cannot just say that, oh, focus on one location, study the market, and then that's it. So here, I will show you exactly what to do. Okay? So welcome, Jeffrey. Let me double check if we are recording. Yes, recording. Okay? So part 1, how do you determine the market values of the land in any particular location? First is you compile a list of vacant lots in that target location. And the more you find, the better, because the more accurate your estimates will be. Next, the important data you need to find would be the selling prices, the sizes of the lots, and the type. Is it residential or commercial? Syempre, for now, we are focusing on residential. Okay? And compute for the price per square meter of those listed properties. Now, how do you do this? Example, for this particular vacant lot, this is from, I saw this at OLX. I just used it for example purposes. So basically, based on the data, lot area is 330 square meters. Again, this is just an example, guys. And asking price is 3.96 million. So how do you know the price per square meter? It's quite simple. You just divide the asking price with the lot area, and you will end up with the price per square meter. In this case, it's 12,000 per square meter. Okay? I hope it's pretty clear. To make it more understandable, another example. For this particular property, this one is a foreclosed property. Lot area is 180. Asking price is 2.7. So what is the price per square meter? 2.7 M divided by 180 square meters. So you end up with 15,000 per square meter. So it's pretty basic. It's very basic. As long as you have vacant lots, okay? This becomes challenging if you have house end lots, because you cannot do this with house end lots. Later, I'll show you how to handle those. How about this example number 3? Lot area is 52. Asking price is 780,000. So this is a cheaper property, but you will notice that the price per square meter is higher. 15,000
Pareho lang,
per square
15,000
meter.
din yung kanina.
Hindi, meron kanina 12 eh. Okay. So, take note, all of these are within Las Piñas City. Okay? Very near to each other. Now, question is, which market value will you use as your point of reference? Will you use 12,000 or 15,000, which would be for the 2 last properties? So, workshop. Can you answer in the chat which would you choose and why? Okay? Naku, Sir Norman, sorry po talaga sa grinder. Pag nakalipat na kami, kahit ano pag gawin nila, wala na. Hindi na marinig. So guys, which would you choose? 12,000 or 15,000? Ikaw, anong gagamitin mo?
Well, nasan yung property mo ulit? Balik mo nga.
Las Piñas.
Hindi. Dapat kasi, pagka nag-a-appraise ka, di ba meron palaging, may computation kasi yan, di ba? May Excel file yan eh. Magpa-plus ka. Plus na, kunyari, yung ko-compare mo yung lot mo dito sa lot ng isa. Is it better or better by 5%? Better by, not better by...
Advance na yan.
Hindi kasi tinanong mo ako eh.
Okay. So,
kasi hindi mo naman eksaktuhin it. Kasi magkakaiba, kahit magkatabi ang dalawang lote, hindi sila pareho ng characteristics.
I know.
So that's why, if you want to have an objective way of computing the may plus yan eh.
Yeah, ito yung quick way.
Plus, minus, corner ba, ganyan.
So, Jeffrey says 15K. Miss Patricia says 14K. Okay. How about the rest? Okay. Anyway, so we can move on. Okay. Miss Rebecca. Hi, Miss Rebecca. 15,000 po. I think the higher the better than going for
conservative.
The lower. Okay. Shoden says 2, which is 15. Okay. Chris says, can we average it out? Okay. Actually, for me, let me reveal my answer. Use the more conservative estimate, which is vacant lot number 1. Kasi, the cheapest for our purposes. Why? Because, remember, we're targeting properties that one exit strategy is we're going to sell it. Okay? And, for argument's sake lang, let's say we're going to sell a property. Okay? And we have other properties out there, our competitors. What do you think, which property do you think will be the one that will be purchased by would-be buyers? The cheapest one, okay? So, that's why we should focus on or use the more conservative estimate. Ano ba yung conservative estimate? Yun yung for sure, yun ang unang mabibenta, which in this case is the 12,000. Assuming everything is equal. Okay? Assuming all things equal. Unlike, it's overly optimistic kasi hindi realistic. If you have a lot of properties for sale, iba 15,000 per square, iba 12. Is it realistic to say that people will buy the 15,000 first? No. They will obviously buy the 12,000 muna, which is why we should base our analysis on the more conservative, which is 12,000.
For purposes of what? Determining your selling price?
Oo. Or choosing the best for our analysis. Kung if we're going to buy one property that which would get sold and for how much. Okay. So parang ganun.
Masyadong simplistic.
Simplistic to kasi it's a quick way. Okay? Later we will go for the big deeper analysis.
Kasi
okay?
pwedeng, there's a reason why it's cheaper.
Just keep in mind, these are just quick estimates for easy reference. In the beginning, ganito lang. Okay?
Ano to? Para gusto mo malaman kung magkano mo mabibenta yung property mo for 15,000 per square ba o for 12,000 per square? What?
It's for one particular market, you want to find out ano ba yung average selling price ngayon? Or ano ba yung realistic price per square meter for that particular village.
For selling or for buying?
For, syempre, ang ultimate
kasi pag
goal,
for buying, yung conservative yung
syempre,
15.
but we are investors. We want to sell it later on. So, for selling, syempre.
Pero syempre, ibabuy mo muna yun.
Oo.
So, dapat
syempre,
i-ano mo muna.
for buying, mas mura, mas maganda. But, for selling, conservative, yung mas mababa.
Hindi, baliktad ka. Pag for buying, dapat, yung conservative mo, yung 15.
Syempre.
Baliktad ka. Sabi mo, parehong mababa yung sinabi mo eh.
Syempre, for buying, conservative mo ay malamang
para
ito
yung computation mo. Ano?
Pero for selling, yun yung mas conservative. Syempre, opposite lagi yan. Okay?
Alam mo,
now, next,
okay lang yan kung okay lang yan kung maliit lang yung, pero pag malakihan na yan, pag tinimes mo yung 3,000 difference.
This is for small properties, okay? So, again, for quick estimates lang to for easy reference, and the more properties you look at in the same location, syempre, the more accurate these estimates will be, but it's not really 100% accurate.
Well, for me talaga, it's, yan. Sige, paano na yan?
Don't
kasi,
preempt.
Hindi kasi, mahirap to say na yung parang tatlong different lots na, of course,
do you want me to conduct this workshop and go through the normal, ilan, I will show them 20? Siyempre, this is for the workshop. I want you guys to see, okay, how it's done quickly. But, in the real world, you don't just analyze 3. You may be 10 or 20.
At saka nga, may iba-ibang
you have to consider
attributes.
The factors that can give a property plus or minus. And the appraiser will actually compensate, which is why my suggestion, have one property appraised by a licensed appraiser in the same village, same subdivision, or same location. Okay?
Yung mga comments nila, sabi ni Shoden, buy lowest, sell highest. Of course, that's what we want. Pero but if we're making computations, tapos nag-compute ka na mababay mo sa low, pero hindi mo naman nabay sa low, so warak na yung mo eh. Kaya meron kang parang kumbaga, kaya mas conservative. For buying, you get the higher. For selling, you get the lower. Para at least meron kang leeway in case na hindi mo makuha yung gusto mong
Ang conservative, yun yung worst case scenario. So, going back to your point, ang worst case scenario, if you're buying, magiging mahal. So, you get the most expensive. Ang worst case scenario naman, when you're selling, is mabibenta mo siya ng mas mura. So, kukunin mo yung mura. For our purpose, parang pinoproject na natin, ibibenta natin siya later. Ganon. Kaya, ang conservative, yung cheapest. Okay? Part 2, rental rates. Okay. Appraiser talaga si ma'am, sabi ni Miss Patricia.
Hindi kasi parang feeling ko, di ba? Parang
may disclaimer
hindi siya ganun ka,
Pero kung if you're going into this na dapat lahat exact, hindi pwede, hindi mo ma-analyze, wala ka nang ma-analyze.
Hindi talaga siya magiging exact. Pero kasi nga may ginamit ka na term na accurate. Hindi mo pwede.
Hindi ko sinabi accurate, sinasabi ko more accurate the more you
accurate,
which is
sinabi mo pa rin
around
accurate.
20.
Actually, dapat precise nga kasi hindi accurate.
Okay. Anyway.
Pero hindi pa magiging super precise yun kung hindi mo. Anyway, whatever.
Anyway, how about rentals? Kasi yon kanina yung vacant lots. Okay? Baka tinatanong nyo, paano yun kung may house and lot? Mamaya, meron tayong ganun. Rentals muna. Isa-isahin natin. How about rentals? Step by step is, again, get a list of properties for rent within your target location. As many as you can find again. Bakit? The more accurate or the more precise. Okay.
Sige nga, anong difference?
You tell me, you're the one who mentioned that term.
You don't know.
For properties for sale, kasi nga, for sale hindi for rent, okay lang yon. You ask them, how much will this rent for? And shut up. Let them answer you. Okay?
Sino ask mo?
Yung seller. Okay. Hopefully, sumagot sila. Kung di sila makasagot, that's the time you do your more thorough market research. Next, compute for the gross rental yield. Okay guys I hope walang mag-space out sa inyo. Meaning, wag kayo ma-intimidate nitong gross rental yield. Okay? But I need to put a name on this term. Ayokong sabihin ng lagi na monthly rent divided by selling price. Hindi. So, gamitin na natin gross rental yield. Okay? Kasi pag sinabi ko rental yield, ano siya hindi siya net gross siya So, baka maging overly optimistic. So, kaya, gross rental yield. Ano ba yung gross rental yield? Very basic. Monthly rent divided by the selling price. Okay? Very important to and I hope hindi kayo mag-space out or hindi kayo ma-intimidate. This is easy guys. You just need to relax, absorb, and pay attention. Why am I saying this? Because in the previous batches, a lot of students stop here and they don't move forward. So, guys, that's why I want this live para I can see if you guys understand or not. Now, take note of the average. Kasi if you found the gross rental yield for one property, repeat for the other properties and take note of the average. Okay? So that you can learn how to do this better. Example tayo. Okay. Rental property number 1 in a vicinity in Las Piñas. Oh, hoy, workshop ka rin.
Ako yung nag-space out.
For this example, may kausap ka. For this example, it's a townhouse in Las Piñas. Lot area is 75 square meters. Floor area is 60 square meters. Hint, hindi nyo kailangan yung data na yun for now. Okay? But, nilagay ko lang dyan kasi makikita nyo yan. Next, selling price is 2 million. Approximate lang kasi hindi siya talaga for sale, pero we estimate na yun yung selling price niya. But, we know that the rental rate is 10.5. This is actual because that property is tenanted and that property commands a 10,005 monthly rent. You know this property. Okay.
Pero that's not 2 million, di ba? 2.8,
yun nga,
diba?
during this first analysis, yun yung estimate natin. So, what is the gross rental yield? Simple lang. The monthly rent, which is 10.5, divided by 2 million. Okay? Which is 0.53%. Okay? Simple siya. Okay? Madali lang siya, guys, ha? One more example. Can everyone understand? Please type yes sa chat if you understand. Yes, very good. Thank you, Norman. Thank you, Jail. Patricia. Okay, very good. Lahat. Okay. One more example. Another townhouse. Selling price is 2M. Ito sold na siya. But the selling price that I saw on the ad before it got sold was 2M. Rental rate for this particular house was 12,000 per month based on the average sa vicinity. Okay? And the gross rental yield for this one is 12,000 divided by 2 million, 0.6. Okay, 0.6. Okay, slight difference from the previous. One last example, rental property 3, bungalow, medyo malaki, but we're not after that. We're after the selling price. Kaya siya 5.8, yan yung approximate na after repair value, or yan yung approximate selling price ng similar properties. Mamaya, we will discuss ARV. Sabihin na lang natin, yan yung approximate market value based on our estimates. And the rental rate for this one was 25,000. This was being advertised for rent. Okay, my agent is actually handling this property. Now, the gross rental yield is 25,000 divided by the selling price, which is 5.8, which is 0.43%. Okay? Gets ba? So, in this case, anong gross rental yield in this target vicinity? Comparable property 1, 0.53. Comparable property 2, 0.6. Comparable property number 3, it's 0.43. And the average is 0.52. Of course, going back, yung conservative, we will get the lowest. It's 0.43. But the average is 0.52. Ano ba significance ito? Well, before we move on, you need to remember that these are just, again, quick estimates, okay, for easy reference in the beginning. Why do we need quick estimates? So that we can easily see properties that is probably a good deal, or they are overpriced or cheap. Yun ang purpose ng quick estimates. And again, the more properties you look at the same location, these estimates will tend to become closer to the actual, magiging more accurate. I'm not saying it's very accurate. I'm saying it will become closer to becoming accurate. Okay? Kasi may lawyer ako.
That word.
Okay. Again,
You have kulang word.
nawala kasi inaaway mo ko. Have one property appraised. Again, pati rentals appraiser pwede nyo hingan ng tulong. Okay? Okay. Actually, ano na yun eh. That's how you estimate the average gross rental yield in a target location. Hindi ko na nagawang workshop. Dapat workshop yun
Di balik.
Hindi. Meron pa dito. Okay, before we go to the workshop on rentals, let's move forward to how do you estimate kung meron ba talaga room for profit. Kasi na-mention ko na yung ARV. Let's tackle this first. Okay? So, ano ba talaga, what is after repair value or ARV? Well, ARV is approximately equal to the market value of the property if it has been repaired already or it's ready for occupancy. Meaning, it's ready to sell, ready to rent, ready to be used. Okay? And how do we determine the ARV? What is the importance of the ARV? Because, let's say you found a property. The selling price is significantly lower than the ARV, then there's a big chance that you will profit. Why? There's a big difference. There's a bigger room for profit even after we consider repairs, taxes, transfer fees, marketing, etc. Okay? Clear ba guys? Naintindihan pa? Okay. Wait. Mr. Norman has a question. Ano po rental yield ang acceptable? Depende sa sa location. But for here, the average is 0.5. 0.5% per month, which is, if it times 12 mo, 6% per year. Okay? Mababa, pero mamaya malalaman nyo bakit okay pa rin yun. Okay. Thank you, Miss Patricia. So, okay pa raw. Okay. So, for me, my target ARV is my target selling price should be 40% below ARV. Meaning, kung merong property na ang ARV ay 1 million, yun yung estimated market value kung if the property is already fixed up or renovated. Let's say, ganon, that is the going rate, that is the selling price. Okay? If I'm going to make money, my target is it should be for sale 40% below the ARV or 40% below the 1 million, which is 600,000.
Para hindi magulo, dapat purchase price.
Oh, ganun. Iba kasi yung perspective eh. Kaya sinabi ko selling price from a bank. Okay. Okay.
Malilito sila dyan.
Okay. So, how do you compute? Actually, dalawang approach. The first approach is market approach. You compare it to other properties for sale. Replacement cost approach. How much would it cost to replace the property? Meaning, what if I just buy a vacant lot and construct? The cost for that is the replacement cost. Okay? Let me explain further. So, what is the market approach? The value is based on comparable properties in the same location. Okay? And you get the market value from there. Okay? And the comparable properties would be better if they were recently sold. Hindi lang yung for sale kasi pag recently sold, that is the most accurate market value. Okay? But since it's harder to find properties recently sold, you can also check those that are currently for sale, but you have to subtract a few so that you can remove that room for allowance that sellers usually add. Okay? So, a comparable property should be in the same size, same location, same age, same features, and so on and so forth. So, you can search online and offline within the same village or subdivision. And again, use the most conservative, the lowest. Okay? How about replacement cost approach? So, the cost is approximately equal to the market value. Ano ba yung cost? The cost to buy the vacant lot and the cost to construct the house or the improvement. So, total cost would be the cost for the vacant lot plus the cost for the construction. Paulit-ulit. Anyway, yan yung formula. Very simple lang naman. So, for quick analysis, we will use the replacement cost approach because obviously this is easier to do and faster to do as compared to the market approach. So step by step, find and compile all vacant lots for sale that were recently sold para lang malaman natin yung ARV ng isang foreclosed property. Kasi this is very similar kanina do sa vacant lots lang, but there's a additional. Calculate for the average selling price of the vacant lot. So we already know that. This time, using data from target foreclosed property, compute for the ARV using replacement cost approach. Meaning, if you found a target foreclosed property with a certain size for the vacant lot and a certain floor area, you will use that to compute for the ARV. Okay? I'll show you how to do this. Now, if the selling price of the bank, kasi nga we're targeting foreclosed properties being that are for sale from banks. If the selling price is significantly lower than the ARV, then it's possibly a good deal. So it's easier to learn by showing you how. So you can also compute for the percent difference between the ARV and the selling price. Again, going back to my example, 40% below kasi target ko. So if you are able to compute for the percent difference, you will quickly know possibly good deal ba siya o hindi. Sample 1. Target townhouse in Las Piñas is has a selling price of 1.8 million. This is for sale from Union Bank. Okay? Lot area is 50, floor area is 63. Oh, sorry again for the grinder, ha? Oh my God. Now, based on the market research for this particular location, the average price of vacant lots is 13,000 per square meter. Okay? So, ito nakuha ko sa market research. So, the cost to construct as quoted by a contractor during this time, ngayon kasi hindi na 15. 18,000 na mahigit to 20. But, I still use this kasi yan yung example. It's the same property kasi that I'm using as an example years ago. So, what is the ARV? So, that the ARV will be the cost for the lot plus the cost of the construction. Yan yung formula. Just plotting in the data, it will be 1.59 million. Okay? Now, is this a good deal or a bad deal? Can anyone answer in the chat? Is it a good deal or a bad deal? Bad. Okay. Yan. Thank you, Jeffrey. Jeffrey is correct. Bad deal siya because why the heck will you buy a property for sale at 1.8 million if you know that you can only sell at 1.59? So, you will sell at a loss. Lugi. Okay?
Ang sa akin dyan, wala ka namang mabibiling 50 square meters at 13,000 per square to begin with.
Ha?
Wala ka mabibiling ganun.
In Las Piñas?
Oo, dun sa area na yun.
3 years ago?
Na ganun yung cut.
Oh.
Walang ganung cut. Kaya actually, mas mahal talaga ang smaller cut.
Yeah. Oo.
Kasi yung per square mo, ginagamit mo yung bigger cut.
Ay, hindi. Yung basis nito, yung ibang maliliit na lote doon. Hindi to BF Resort, ha? Okay. Eto. Moving on to another example. Ito naman, selling price, 2.587. Lot area is 102. Floor area is 273. So, malaki siya. Average price of vacant lots, ayan, it's 15,000. This is in Royal South, Las Piñas. Cost to construct, ito, before, 15,000 per square. Pero ngayon, hindi na. What is the ARV? So, plotting in the data in the formula, it will become 5.625 million. Okay? Na-click ko na. Tatanong ko sana kung good deal o bad deal. Yes, it is. This is possibly a good deal. Why? Because it's the ARV is more than 5 million and yet it is for sale for only 2.587 M. Ang laki. Ang laki ng difference. Okay? Ngayon, going back. Hindi na 15,000 per square ang construction. Yes. If you increase that, the value of this property will actually increase. Which means, lalaki rin ang spread. Paano yun? After several years, the cost for the lot has also increased. So, meron din. May konting mababawas din naman because of the additional cost for the vacant lot. Okay? Actually, tataas ulit yung value. Okay? Anyway, that's how you compute for the ARV. Okay? Now, baka, so that you won't be intimidated, I will show you how to compute for ARV using our own calculator. Okay? Norman has a question. Sir, nasa replay po ba yung mga sample na yan? Di kasi ako nag-take notes. Yes! Everything is in the replay. Okay? So, let me show you guys the sample. Tama-tama, may maingay. Okay. Okay. So, ito yung nasa screen. This is an after repair value calculator. It's actually inside the training area. Malinaw ba? Can you guys see the calculator, the Excel sheet? Can you type in the screen? Yes. Okay. Good, good. Let me just double check. Okay. Yun. Okay. I can see. Okay. So, hold on ah. Para it's clear. Let me zoom in a bit. Okay. Yan. Oops. Sumobra. Yun. Okay. Hold on, guys.
O go slower daw, Dad.
Go slower so I can follow to computations. I'm taking notes. Thank you. Okay. Sorry, Miss Lourdes. Sige, we'll go slower. Anyway. That's grinder talaga. Sorry guys, may grinder kasi. Now, this is the exact property in my example. Okay? So, I just used the same data. I entered it here. So, you can find this inside the investor toolbox inside the training. So, you just need to edit the yellow parts kasi the yellow parts would be where you can type the data. Like, lot area, if you double click, yun, pwede nyo gawing 100 or whatever data. Yung actual data kasi 102. Okay? Floor area 273. Okay? And the selling price is 2.58. Saan nanggaling yung selling price? That is the selling price from the bank for this example. Now, next part is the location details. What is the average selling price per square meter of vacant lots? In this particular location, it's 15,000. Now, the cost to construct during this time, 2 or 3 years ago, it was 15,000. But now, it's 18,000. But because the example is based on these data, I'll keep it as is, okay? And because of the data in the yellow cells, they are auto-computed in the green cells, okay? So, we end up with the cost for the lot at 1.53. The cost for the construction is 4.09. Auto-computed na yan kasi. And the total for the lot and the improvement will be 5.6. Okay? Now, it's also auto-computed. It has also auto-computed for the difference between the ARV and the selling price. And I also have a cell that computes for the percent difference. Okay? So, you don't need to worry na baka hindi nyo kaya i-compute to kasi there's already a template. And you can actually download this. Okay? You can download this. Para you can do your computations wherever you are, even if you don't have an internet connection. Okay? So, okay ba guys? Naintindihan ba? Jeffrey says yes. Okay, very good. Salamat sa template. Ayos na ayos. Thank you guys. Ako. I'm so happy that naiintindihan nyo kasi very important to. Hindi, you cannot move forward kung you cannot understand this ARV. Okay?
Pero yung cost of construction per square meter, baka hindi
bago na yan. Dapat 18,000 to 20,000 na yan.
20,000 na siguro.
So, Mr. Manuel says, what does 54% mean? Meaning, in effect, sir, tama yun. Kasi, tinanong ni Sir Manuel, does that mean you will gain 54% if you buy it at bank selling price of 2.587? Yes. In effect, parang ganon. Para bang if you buy at 2.587 and sell at 5.62 million, in effect, yung gain mo, yung ROI mo is 54.01%. Okay? In effect. Okay? But for our purposes, the purpose of this sheet is you know the difference. Kasi, di ba kanina yung criteria ko, 40% below dapat. Ito more than 40% below, then I should, when I see this, I should continue analyzing this property. Again, quick way to identify a possibly good deal, yung sheet na to. Okay?
Yung siguro yung cost for construction mo na 15,000, effectively net siya of the depreciation. Kasi pag gumawa ka ng pag nag-construct ka ngayon, tapos para tumama ka dun sa presyo ng foreclosed na yan, let's say 20 years old na yan. So, babawas mo rin yun, di ba?
Hindi pa natin kino-consider. Dito yung depreciation.
Effectively, parang net na lang yung 15. So, pwede na rin yung 15.
Hindi ko mag-get. Hindi ko mag-get na
ano na lang, rough yun eh. Kasi dapat, pag kukonstruct ka ngayon, syempre, di ba? Parang sinasabi mo,
kasi kino-consider mo yung...
bibilin mo siya or i-construct mo siya. So, pag nag-construct ka ng bago, let's say 20,000 per square, pero mas maganda na to kesa dito sa kinukumparan mo. Kung gusto mong pumantay sila, bawasan mo siya ng, syempre, depreciated na itong isa. So, parang magpantay siya more or less.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so, with that, let's go back to our slides. Okay. Thank you guys for your patience kasi kanina talaga ang ingay. Okay. Ayan. Okay. Going back, rentals naman tayo. Okay? Ito na yung workshop portion. Although nadaanan na natin to. So, kasi yung gross rental yield kanina, we were computing and then we just found the gross rental yield. Now, there's a way to using that gross rental yield, we can compare it to the 1% rule to quickly see promising rental properties. Okay? So, again, we will use what people refer to as the 1% rule, pero it's not a rule. It's a rule of thumb. Okay? Meaning, for approximate quick analysis lang siya. Now, sa atin, mas applicable ang 1% rule. Sa US, madalas 2% rule sila doon.
Sa atin nga, parang 0.5%.
Hindi, 0.5 is the average. Which is why, if you see 1%, that's something you should look at further kasi it's possibly a good deal or a great deal. Again, it's a rule of thumb, quick indicator lang siya. But, to make it more accurate, you should get the rental rates from actual values, meaning from properties that are actually tenanted. Hindi lang yung hinugot sa hangin na, ay, for rento ng ganito. Ay, hindi. Huwag yung ganon. Dapat may actual lease contract. Now, you will refer to the results of your market study. Di ba? Nag-market study, nakuha nyo yung average, nakuha nyo rin yung pinaka-conservative. Iko-compare nyo yun dun sa mga target properties. Okay? Okay, so before we continue, keep in mind na madalas it more often than not the gross rental yield is quite low. Meaning you won't see 1% a lot of times. You will often see around the average, which is here in Las Piñas it's 0.5%. Okay? So it's very rare that it will reach 1%. But if you see a 1% property, do your due diligence kasi it's possibly a good deal. Okay? Now, below market value properties will obviously give a better gross rental yield. Bakit? Because the selling price is lower. Since that is the divisor, the gross rental yield will increase. Okay? Simple math. Okay? Now, some bad rentals are still good for buy and sell. Meaning, even if you find a property that has a bad gross rental yield or low, it doesn't mean you write it off or give up on it immediately. Because, more often than not, even if its rental rate is not ideal, if it's still below market value, it's good for flipping. Okay? It's good for buy and sell. Again, you need to compute using ARV naman. Okay? Now, obviously, if you find a good rental, it's also good for buy and sell. More often than not. The price is just good for both flipping and rentals. But, my advice, keep them. Okay? Na-mention ko to kay Brother Boss. Siguro tumatanda na ako kaya gusto ko i-keep yung mga rentals. Ayoko na magbenta. And, again, you need to do further analysis. Yung na-mention ni Mrs. kanina about the depreciation. Actually, yun yung internal rate of return yung na-mention niya, which is something we cannot cover in this workshop. We will cover that in an advanced workshop later on. Meron pa tayong ko-compute yung in addition to the ROI, the NOI, net operating income, cash on cash return, and yun, yung mga internal rate of return, and so on and so forth. Step by step. Again, you already established the average gross rental yield because of the comparable properties in the vicinity. Now, actually, I'm just repeating yung you ask if a property is for sale, also ask if it's for rent, and then compute for the gross rental yield. Now, this time, is it equal to or greater than 1%? Kasi that's our criteria to quickly see if it's possibly a good deal or not. Now, how does a target foreclosed property's gross rental yield compare to the market range? Kasi if it's a little above the average, then why not? Ito, sample. Actually, workshop na to. So, ay, hindi. Parang, ayan. Using the same example earlier, this time, you can see that the gross rental yield is higher. Oh, kasi yung average natin, 0.43. So, for this particular one, 0.56. Mas mataas siya ng konti. Okay? So, Norman says, is 0.5 gross? Yes, gross. Gross. Okay? Ayun. This is the workshop na. Okay? Oh, guys, I just want to make sure you can follow through this workshop. Okay? Quick analysis for rental properties if it is possibly a good deal. Sample townhouse in Las Piñas. This is the first example. Selling price is 1.95. Rental rate is 12,000 based on the similar properties around the vicinity. What is the gross rental yield? Ikaw. Oh, guys, unahan. In the chat, what is the gross rental yield? Madali lang to dapat. Oh, I'm computing also on my calculator. Ano to? 1.95 yun. Okay. Don't forget guys pag after nyo i-divide, you have to multiply by 100 para maging percent. Okay? Okay. Okay. Sige, meron pang gusto humabol? Ikaw, ano sagot mo?
Ha? Points.
Ay, ang sagot ni Mrs. Facebook.
9615.
Okay. Ako, ang answer ko, tama. Depende na lang sa round off. The answer is 0.61 or 62%. 0.62%. Okay? So, tama. Si I think sa rounding off, nag-iba. Okay. Okay. Very good, guys. Ay, salamat. So, naintindihan nyo. Okay. Mahilig mag-round up yung kalko. Okay. Very good, guys. Baka tsamba, kaya isa pa. Next example. Selling price 2.8, rental rate 11. What is the gross rental yield? Okay. Go. Answer 11. Baba. Ayun, tama. 0.39. Very good. Okay. 0.39%. Medyo mababa. Okay? Last example. Ito. Mas mura to. 900,000. Pero, tumatabo siya ng 6,000 per month. Okay? What is the gross rental yield? URC to, di ba? Actual property to. Okay.
Hindi ko lang alam kung 6,000.
Di ba nga 7,000 pag furnished? Ay. 6,000 divided by...
Pero 1.2 na daw din ngayon.
O yun, tumaas. 6,000 divided... ayoko nang asagot nito kasi... ayoko nang puro 6. Buti na lang, hindi tatlong 6. Okay. Sabihin natin 0.67%. Okay? Ayan. Very good. Okay. Thank you guys. Buti naintindihan nyo. So, more things to remember when it comes to gross rental yield. So, gross rental yield is basically, yan na yung return on investment ng rental properties. Gross. Meaning, hindi pa natin na ma-minus yung cost for property management, cost for maintenance, cost for, ang tawag doon? Yung collection loss, yung mga hindi na-kolekta, and so on and so forth. So, gross rental yield, yan na yung ROI nyo. Okay? I-multiply nyo yan ng 12, it becomes a yearly ROI. Which means, you can already compute, or you can already compare to stocks, compare with other forms of investments. Okay? And, pati yung, ito, buti, nasabi ni Norman, vacancy rate din. So, vacancy rate, you never assume na 100% tenanted. In a year, pwedeng kung yung tenant nyo hindi nagbabago, yun. Pwedeng 100% for 2 years. Pero on the third year, what if magpalit ng umalis yung tenant? Meron kang vacancy for 1 or 2 months, ina-average na lang natin yun. Okay? Thank you, Sir Norman. Okay. Other things to consider, again, actual market study ang pinaka actual rental rates ang dapat nating basis. Okay? Same location, same vicinity, whether online, offline. You can also network with brokers and agents to get data for your market study. There are areas that really have low gross rental yields, and it improves when buying at below market value. Lastly, yung rental rates, they are affected by ang daming factors: accessibility, distance, yung mga na-mention ni Mrs., yung place of work, yung mga CBD, malls, groceries, convenience stores, churches, hospitals, schools. Kasi maraming lumilipat ng location ng bahay para lumapit sa schools. Okay? And of course, the unit condition, if it's furnished or not, if it has a parking area or parking slot, and so on. And features and amenities, all of these can affect the rental rates. And some can actually be fixed, meaning we can influence a lot of this, which makes rentals good. Unlike, kunyari, compare mo sa stocks, you don't have any control sa stocks or mutual funds. Okay? 1% rule calculator demo. Para hindi kayo ma-intimidate, kahit na lahat kayo nakakompute ng mabilis, let me share again our demo.
Kakantok pala itong oras na to.
Oo nga eh.
Oras de peligro.
Ganun ba tawag doon? Oras de peligro.
Nawala, ako lang nagsabi. Parang.
Okay.
Tapos ng lunch.
Kita ba guys yung 1% rule calculator? Can you type in the chat if you can hear it? Ay, can hear. If you can see it? Yes. Okay. Thank you, Miss Jail. Okay. Good. So basically, ayan na. All the yellow cells, just input the data like the monthly rent. Actually, yung floor area, you don't need that. Just the selling price para do sa 1% rule. Ang goal natin is to see if it's near 1% or not. In this example, yung nasa screen, 0.56. So, malayo.
0.56 is 10,000 over 1.8 M.
Ngayon, for this template, inad ko na rin yung floor area. Bakit? So that you can immediately see the cost or rental rate per square meter. Okay? Kasi, andyan na eh. Why not just add it? Okay? Kasi,
dapat yun ang itabi mo dun sa taas kasi nakakagulo yun. Akala ko 10,000 times 63, 1.8. Hindi naman.
Sorry. Yes, boss. Ayusin natin yan.
Yan.
Okay.
Dapat ganyan.
Okay. And,
is the computation also applicable for condo rental?
yes. Oo. Correct kayo, Miss Jamie. Applicable din siya sa condo rentals. So, again, if you know the average kung saang condo yon, condo project, compare nyo dito, kunyari, how do you know? Let's say, yung example ko, sa Avida, New Manila, 18,000 per condo. Yung standard na 48 square, 18,000. During that time, 2-3 years ago, it was for sale for 2.4. Flat natin 18,000. Sell 48 ang floor area. For sale siya ng 2.4 million. 2.4 million. 0.75. While hindi siya umabot ng 1%, it's definitely above average during that time. Okay? So, pwede mong consider to. Okay? As long as it's above the average. Okay? But, if you see 1%, immediately, tignan mo kaagad, baka nga maunahan ka pa ng iba. Okay? Again, this is inside the training area and you can download the template. Okay?
Alam mo, ako napansin ko, pag kunyari tayo, may tinitignan sa ko, mukhang okay to okay to. Tapos pagka tawag mo, nabenta na yan. Kasi may
Mabilis.
mga tao rin ganun na alam na rin nila.
Oo.
Pagka hindi kasi ikaw, kumbaga concentrated sa isang lugar o hindi ka masyadong familiar dun sa mga presyo, matagal kang
mag-decide.
So, yun eh. Pagka basta naka-ready ka lang dun sa pera mo,
Mhm.
alam mo na yung computation, it's easier to pull the trigger. It's faster talaga.
Yep. Okay.
Lalo na pag foreclosed. Kasi wala namang dyan eh. Hindi ka naman makaka-hold dyan nang wala kang offer di ba?
Yeah. Okay. So, any questions or comments, guys, dun sa 1% calculator before we proceed? Okay. 1, 2. Mag-almost 2 hours na pala tayo.
Okay. Tapos na siguro. Wala na silang question.
Okay.
Seryoso ba yan? 116 yung slides mo?
Actually, seryoso yan.
Hindi naman siguro natin didiscuss yan ngayon.
Sige. We will
That's crazy.
end at 4. Okay? Hindi, 4:30 para we will end the slides at 4. Mag Q&A tayo kasi baka nga na overdose na kayo.
Talaga. Sinasabi ko na sa'yo.
Okay. So,
Lalo na may
next.
computation ka. May tanong si Mr. Norman. 0.5% is good deal? Yan. Naka-all caps pa siya.
Average po siya. Average po yung 0. Meaning, kung 0.5 times 12, that's 6% per year, medyo mababa siya. So, hindi...
Pero siguro, I think for me, pwede na. Kasi ang dito ngayon, ang kasi sa real property, dalawa yung mga main reasons paano kakikita eh. Syempre, aside from rental, nag-a-appreciate din siya. Kaya siya nagiging mababa kasi dahil nga tumataas yung
selling
value
price.
Kaya bumababa yung Kaya bumababa yung habang tumatagal, tumataas yung mo.
Kasi napansin namin po yung selling price, it is increasing faster than the rental rate. So, which is why yung gross rental yield talagang bumababa.
Ngayon, lately, napansin ko, let's say, past 4 years, past 6 years, grabe ang halos dumodoble na sila. Actually, meron talaga mga dumoble na presyo in that time period. Kasi grabe yung pagtaas. So, kaya, minsan nangyari, isip mo, bibilin ko ba to? Ba't ang mahal? Pag titingnan mo yung percentage-wise, parang ang mahal. Pero, pag hindi ka bumili ngayon, tumataas siya ng tumataas. Kumbaga, maiiwan ka rin eh. So, parang feeling ko somewhere, you really have to pull the trigger na eh. In a way, may pagka-speculation na rin yun. Pero for me, kasi, parang, dahil nga may mga construction pa tayo, we cannot expect na, nabababa pa yan. Sa kung ano ang presyo niya ngayon, it will only go higher, di ba? Okay, may question si Mr. Manuel. Can we go again, please, at the 1% rule? If the result is very near 1%, say 0.85%, is that a very good deal than say one that's 0.56? Why so, sir? Oh, yes, sir. Apo.
Yan. Okay.
Ulitin mo. Sa computation.
Ay, computation. Okay.
Bakit better yung 0.85 sa 0.56?
Okay. Kasi ito, 0.56. Okay?
Let's say 0.85 daw.
Kung naging 0.85 siya, it means mas mataas yung rent or mas mura po yung selling price. Kasi nga, i-divide natin yung 10,000 by 1.
Para hindi malito si sir,
Doon tayo sa
gawin nating 1 million yung presyo, sir. Ang 0.85 of 1 million is 8,500 per month na rental. Versus, ang 0.56% is 5,600 per month for the same 1 million property. So, that's why better po yung 0.85 sa 0.56. Naget ko ba yun? Tama ba yung intindi ko sa question?
I-enter ko dito sa calculator. Ano yun?
Hindi kasi kunyari, ang selling price mo 1 million.
Okay.
Ang monthly rent mo is 8,500.
Monthly rent,
8,500.
8,500. 8,500.
Yan. So, Gusto ko tapatan yung sabi ni Sir kasi na example na 0.85%.
Yan, 0.85.
So, yan yung 0.85%. So, in contrast, pag 0.56%, ano naman yung 0.56? Pwede rin natin kung pabalik ta rin yan, di ba, workback. Pero actually, dahil 1 million nga yung price natin, pwedeng 5,600 na yon, di ba? Pag ilagay mo yung 5,600, lalabas yan 0.56. So, syempre, you get, the higher, the better.
Oo, in effect, sir, yung 0.85, it simply means mas mataas yung rent na nakukuha mo. For every peso that you spend on that property, mas malaki yung returns in terms of rent na makukuha mo. Now, going to Norman's question, 1% is very rare. What is considerably good deal? Okay, yes, 1% is rare, pero magugulat po kayo na bigla na lang may makikita kayo, oh my God, 1%. Ako nga yung binenta ko, 1.1. So, sana hindi ko nalang binenta.
Hindi, pero ngayon na lang siya naging 1.1. That time, hindi, di ba?
Kasi, ginawa kong 18,000 na per square.
Kasi yun nga. Kasi nagbabago yung presyo eh.
Yeah.
Kaya dahil yan, yun yung sinasabi ni Robert Kiyosaki na initially, negative gearing ka. Pero later, magiging positive din yun. Dahil nga, nag-appreciate din yung real property.
Sir Manuel says, okay, I get it. Okay, thank you, Sir Manuel.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Guys, if you have questions, let us know.
12 minutes na lang. Kasi
Okay.
baka masasabog na yung sumobra baka kung ano-ano kasi yung mga percent, point yung ginagawa mo.
Anyway. Sige. I understand. I get it. Pero nung yung last batch, talaga tinapos namin to eh. Pero for this batch, kasi nga, it's afternoon, baka nga sumabog nga utak nyo. Sorry. Okay. Eto, lighter topic para medyo mahimasmasan. Eto,
Practice.
kasi saan lang kayo kukuha listings? Kasi yun, may nakita na example paano mag-compute. Where do you get listings that you will analyze? Eto yun. Okay? Very light topic. Okay? Kung may coffee kayo, magtimpla muna kayo ng coffee. Coffee na lang din.
No.
Okay. So, where do you get listings of foreclosed property? So, ito, parang...
Dapat correct ang answer nyo dyan, ha?
Parang naging part of my life na to. This is part and parcel of my everyday life. Getting listings. So, the first way to get listings is to go to the BSP. Okay?
Bakit BSP? Akala ko to go to foreclosurephilippines.com.
Papakita ko muna kung ano yung difference. Go to the BSP website. Get listings from each bank online. And then, hindi. Ito pala lahat nun. BSP, go to each bank's website separately or call the banks. Each and every one. Ask for listings. Lastly, go to the source of listings before. Manila Bulletin. Ngayon, hindi na complete. Last, go to the online classified ads. But, our recommended way is mamaya sa number 2.
Ha?
Una, sa BSP.
Pause muna. May tanong si Sir Juan Carlos. Si King Juan Carlos. At saka si Sir Norman. Sir, yung di po natapos today, itutuloy ba natin next session? Then, if you do not finish the slides during the session, can we still view it some other time?
Yes, of course. Actually, meron ng recorded na session and you can go through it if you don't want to finish it today. But let's say tonight, you want to finish it, nabitin kayo, you can continue there. Okay?
Ibigay mo yung link sa kanila para hindi sila may...
Yeah, it's right after this. I will send a replay. Makikita na nila to. Okay? First, the hard way, you can go to the BSP. Not really hard. Go to their website. Ayan yon. BSP website, and from there I will show you. Okay, step by step demo. Okay, hold on guys ah.
Excuse lang ako kasi si VJ may.
Okay.
Excuse lang po.
Okay, BSP is the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. It's a central bank that has authority over all the banks here, which is why dapat they should know all the lists. They should know all the banks and their corresponding websites. Okay. Now, on this page, if you click on find all banks, ayan na. All the banks are there. Okay. Sorry if it's a bit small, but if you will notice on the last column, all the websites, all the links to the websites are there, and you can visit each website to get their lists of properties. But the thing is, not all banks have a list of foreclosed properties on their site. If it's like Land Bank, let's open Land Bank here. Land Bank, very good. They have a list. They maintain it here in under properties for sale. You will see a list, and you just have to search according to where you prefer, kung location wise, and just search. Let's say you get it naman, di ba? Medyo mabagal kasi itong website nila. I'm not sure why. Ayun. Okay, let's imagine meron pa silang properties in Canada. Grabe, no? Pero piliin natin yung NCR. And then, ano ba yung province in NCR? Kasi actually, ang province is Metro Manila. And let's say I want to search QC only. That's it. They only have 2 properties in QC. Okay? And you can click to get details. Okay. So, for Land Bank, again, it's a very good bank in terms of the data that you get. They even have a set of pictures, but it's loading very slow. Maybe because of our webinar, okay? But you see a lot of data, which is very complete compared to the other banks, okay? Tagal lang mag-load. We cannot expect much from websites of banks kasi medyo hindi sila ganun ka-updated. Continuous loading na siya. Anyway, that's how you search for one bank. You can repeat that for all the banks. Okay? You can repeat that for all the banks. Very tedious, right? Very tedious siya. So, let's go back to the slides. Lalo na, it becomes tedious if you open a website of a bank and there are actually no listings of properties. Next is, another option for you to get listings would be, get the listings, again, from each bank, but this time, only from banks that update their websites regularly. And I already compiled a list of websites. You can find that list in the Investors Toolbox. So let me show a demo, okay? Going back, if I click on, this is the link to the toolbox. I'll show you where it is. Okay. At di na ba? Ayun, yun. Ito. Here it is. Ayan. This is the list of websites from banks that have foreclosed properties. Eto. It's inside the training area. So, I already did the hard work of compiling, identifying which websites maintain a list of properties. Okay? So, I update this regularly. Siguro mga once a month. I search for broken links and add more banks if meron. Currently, these contain more than 40 banks. Okay? So, yan. That's another option for you guys to search for listings. Ito, online lahat. Okay? Okay. Sir, how do we access the toolbox easily? Okay. The toolbox, if you can see the screen, let's say you enter the training area. Okay. Dali ah. Ito kasi yung training area. If you, for example, nag-login pa lang kayo, di ba? This is the screen that you will see when you log in into the training area. Kikita nyo yung free training, kikita nyo yung standard bundle, yan yung kaka-enroll lang. And if there is the core and advanced and the investor's toolbox. Yan. It's so easy. You can see it down here. Okay. Just click on it and everything is there. Okay. The past Q&A sessions, the resources like the ultimate list of bank websites and real estate legal forms andito na rin. Okay. Calculators, yung mga example ko kanina, and bank specific tips. So, yan. That's how you access the toolbox. Okay? Uy, what's wrong? And you can access this indefinitely. Even if the course ends, you have lifetime access. Okay? So, no worries. You will be able to access indefinitely. Okay, so going back. Sa slides ulit. Eto, last option, hindi, another option, you can ask the banks to send you the listings. You basically call them and then ask them to send you either through email or most probably email, and then provide your email so that hindi siya one time, meaning you ask a listing now, okay, but so that when they have an updated list, give them your email address so that they can continue sending their new listings to you through email. Okay, so that there's no need to call them up again and ask for the most updated listing. If you are in their mailing list, email list, they will regularly email you, provided the bank is someone who updates their listings regularly. Okay? Fourth option, get listings from Manila Bulletin. Nako, Manila Bulletin, you can only get very few auction announcements nowadays, because unlike before where almost all banks advertise in Manila Bulletin, now very few. But still, here's an option. Instead of buying their print edition, go to this site, manilabulletin.pressreader.com. This is where they send their soft copy version of their Manila Bulletin. And you can buy the Sunday edition. It's cheaper. I think it's around 10 pesos. Unlike the 20 pesos. Although mura pa rin. 20 pesos is still cheap. But the online version is cheaper at 10 pesos. What I like is, syempre, paperless, mas eco-friendly, but it's searchable. Yun ang maganda. Kasi PDF file siya, you can search. Okay? Next, online classifieds. That's another way. Ako, I noticed OLX, maraming foreclosed din dyan. That property, they are already starting to add foreclosed properties. Zipmatch, konti. Property 24, marami. Lamudi, marami. My property, marami din. Okay? But, ang concern ko dyan is some have no keyword search. Basically, for example, you're looking for a foreclosed property in BF Resort Village. You cannot type BF Resort Village. Bakit? Walang keyword search function. Particularly, property 24 and Lamudi, I think my property wala din. But for that property, OLX meron. I really can't understand why ganun sila. Another issue with classifieds, there might be duplicates and different pa yung pricing from different brokers. So, maybe the listings were not updated or yun. Kaya hindi updated yung price or different yung price. Next, some brokers omit foreclosed properties that are outside their expertise. So, let's say, for example lang, there's a broker who focuses on QC. You can expect them not to upload listings from other cities. So, puro QC lang siya. So, ino-omit talaga. Bakit? Kasi ganun naman talaga mga real estate brokers. They must focus only on their areas of expertise. Kasi kunyari, you're a broker specializing in QC. Why would you entertain an inquiry for a property in Cebu? So, it's a waste of time. So, they only list properties in QC or in their chosen target location. Okay? Okay, Miss Lourdes says, can we see the list again, please? Okay, which list po, Miss Lourdes? Yung list ng, ito, ayan. Yan po. Okay. Are you referring to the list of online classifieds, Miss Lourdes? Okay. Anyway, again, everything, the slides, the replay, everything will be in the training area. Okay. And you can go back as many times as you want. Basically, the training does not end because you have lifetime access. Now, let's proceed. Again, yan yung concerns. Tapos may mga properties pa that have missing or not really missing. They hide the data. They hide the exact address. They hide the selling bank. Why? Because the brokers are afraid that the buyers will go direct to the bank. So, ganun talaga ang problem. I mentioned already earlier, how do you get the banks to send the listings to you? Be a serious buyer. Ako, the reason why I often get listings is I often attend auctions. I actually buy properties. And they already recognize me as a serious buyer, which is why they often send listings to me. Now, be an accredited broker. If you are a licensed broker, the bank will obviously send listings to all their brokers to help them with marketing their property. So, being an accredited broker will, of course, be a big advantage because the banks will send the listings to you. Next is be a valued client. If you are a valued client from a bank and you tell them that you are interested in foreclosed properties, they will definitely send listings to you and build a relationship. Okay? Okay, so any other questions, guys? So, I don't think hindi nakakayanin talaga. Not because we don't have time, but because I think medyo exhausted na rin kayo. Okay? Marami pa tayong sana i-cover, from how much does it really cost to ano pa ba? How to compute for, how to check if a property really has potential and ROI. Okay? So, I know why. Normally kasi tapos to within 2 to 3 hours, but since I have a co-host, medyo tumagal. Sorry guys. But I can see nga na baka nga na medyo na ma-overdose na kayo for this workshop. Siguro nga it's prudent or it's wise for us to Okay. JC says, you may continue, and those who do not want can freely leave the meeting. We can continue next session. Okay. Sige. Ganito na lang. I will continue, but if you don't want to continue, you are free to leave and just watch the replay. Okay? Ganun na lang. Ganun na lang. Okay. Kasi siguro si wifey lang ang maarte at ayaw niyang ituloy. Okay? So, let's proceed. Ang next topic natin, kasi if you don't have questions about where to get the listings, let's proceed. So, how much does it really cost to invest in foreclosed property? So, in this particular topic, we will cover the cost involved. Okay? Kasi it doesn't follow that you just buy and sell na you will not incur any expenses in addition to the selling price. Meron eh. You have to consider that. And I will tackle them here. So yan. Lahat yan. And we will cover that one by one. Obviously, the purchase price, either the whole purchase price kung cash siya, or the DP kung naka-loan kayo. Okay? Next thing that would cost you are the loan-related expenses. Ano yun? Application fee, DST for mortgage, which is 1.5% of the loan amount. Actually, I think because of the train law, there should be changes here. Now, MRI, Mortgage Redemption Insurance, tataas yung monthly nyo because of that. So, MRI would be approximately 2.4 to 4.9 pesos for every 1,000 of the mortgage amount. And you divide it by 12 months. Okay? Kasi ano to monthly mo siya binabayaran. Tapos, yearly yung insurance na yan. Which is why, yung MRI, dinidivide yan into 12 para for 1 year, nagbabayad kayo ng premium. And then the next year, uulit yan. Okay, uulit yan. Siyempre, for each year, I believe lumiliit yung premium. So, I could be wrong. But, okay? And then, just to make sure, you ask the bank for a computation. Okay? Third, the monthly amortization. Obviously, the monthly amortization will be... Now, if you don't want to continue, then go. I will continue. Okay? Go. I'm talking to my wife. Sorry. Monthly amortization, the data you need would be the down payment, interest rate, and the term. Okay? And if you use our mortgage calculator, you can easily compute for the monthly amortization. Okay? Next, how do you estimate the repair cost? Okay. Use 5,000 pesos per square meter of floor area. Yan kasi yung pinaka average so far when it comes to the repairs. For extensive renovations, eto na yon. Okay? So, anything above, you need to double check. Now, this should be your maximum repair estimate. Okay? And, of course, it would be better to check kung masyadong mahal yung repair estimates. Check mo, is it okay to just demolish and construct a new building? Okay? Next, how to estimate the repair cost? Get estimates from contractors. Okay? And you get contractors only for shortlisted properties. So, hindi lahat ng properties papa-estimate nyo, only those that are left in your shortlist. Ano yung naiiwan sa shortlist? Siyempre, marami kayong properties na tinitignan. The top 3, yun lang ang pwede nyong i-pa-check sa mga contractors. And of course, only get highly recommended contractors. Okay? Get at least 3 quotations. Now, other options, you get a foreman, an engineer, or an architect. Okay? Not necessarily a general contractor. Okay? Number 5, taxes. You definitely have to pay for taxes, and here is how you estimate. Applicable taxes when buying foreclosed properties would be creditable withholding tax, hindi capital gains, creditable withholding tax. DST, documentary stamps tax, and transfer tax. So, other applicable taxes would be business tax. So far, yun lang. Okay? And to compute for that, CWT is also 6%. DST is approximately 1.5%, but it's really 15 pesos per 1,000. Per 1,000. Okay? Transfer tax, we actually have a calculator for that. Okay? So, isa-isahin natin. Ang CWT, it is paid to the BIR, often shouldered by the banks up to the selling price. Kasi, any excess, meaning, what if the fair market value or zonal value is higher than the selling price? Hindi na isa-shoulder ni bank. Okay? It will be shouldered by the buyer. So, CWT is 6% of the tax base, where tax base is equal to tatlo yan: selling price, fair market value, or zonal value, whichever is higher. Laging ganun si BIR. Okay? Next, DST, paid to the BIR, shouldered by the buyer. Normally, the buyer talaga yan. And it is 15 pesos for every 1,000 or any fractional part thereof. Now, sa mga nagkakaroon ng discrepancy, ito yun. Ito yung reason. Kasi, any fractional part, 15 pesos pa rin yun. Okay? Kaya minsan may discrepancy ng 15 pesos or konti lang, yan yung reason yan. Mali yung computation. Kasi, ang iba, ginagawa nilang 1.5% kaagad, which is wrong. Okay? Transfer tax paid to the LGU, ito, anywhere in between 0.75 to 1%, pagka Metro Manila. Pag outside, 50% of 1%. Ay, sorry. Yung sa taas pala, 75% of 1%. Okay? Where the tax base is the selling price or fair market value, whichever is higher. Okay? And the fair market value is equal to the zonal value of the land. Yan yung nasa tax declaration. Plus, the fair market value or yun yung value na nasa tax declaration din. Okay? Sorry, yung zonal value pala sa BIR na kukuha. Sa tax declaration na kukuha yung fair market value. Okay? Here's an example. Ito, nagpa-assess ako ng transfer tax before. Ito yung assessment na binigay sa akin from the City Treasurer of Las Piñas. Okay? Lot area, zonal value, nasa screen. Kaya, pag kinompute, minultiply lang yung 179, yung lot area, by the zonal value, 751,000. Okay? How about the other values? Yung fair market value, ito yung nasa tax deck. Tapos, inad lang sila. Inad lang yung fair market value tsaka yung zonal value. Kaya siya naging 1.4 million. Okay? In total. And, ito yung actual selling price from the bank. Okay? Now, whichever is higher, syempre, mas mataas yung selling price ng bank. Yung rate nila, 0.005 or 0.5%, which results in 18,000. Okay? Plus 100 yung certification fee. Yan, okay. 18,950. Okay, we have a question from Shoden. Is there one calculator to everything, like all expenses, taxes, fees, and potential ROI in one? Actually, meron. I will show you later. Okay. Now, other applicable taxes yon. Business tax in Las Piñas, yon. 70% of selling price times 0.5%. How about transfer fees? Transfer fees would be first the registration fee, which is paid to the Land Registration Authority or the Registry of Deeds, okay, when transferring ownership of the title. The registry fee computation would be for the first 1.7 M, refer to the registration table, and additional 90 pesos for every 20,000. Okay? Actually, let me show you the calculator for the reg fee kasi ito although for someone who is doing this every day, medyo madali na mag-compute. But let me show you the calculator for the reg fee. Okay? Meron ako transfer fee calculator pala. Okay? Let me show you guys ano to. Yeah, let's just wait for it to load. Okay? Medyo, ayan, finally nag-load. Oops. Ayaw niya mag-load ng buo. Ayun, okay. Okay. Actually, madali lang tong kino-compute na niya kaagad eh. Kasi hindi ko lang mapakita yung Excel sheet. Let's say 1.7 million. Yan, 8,796. What if nadagdagan siya ng 20,000? Dapat tataas siya. Okay. Yun, no? Nagdadagdag siya ng 90 pesos. This calculator is also here. You can download it as an Excel sheet. Okay? So, hindi na kayo mahirapan mag-compute niyan. Okay. Going back to the slides. Transfer fees. Ito, another portion of the transfer fees would be the IT fee. Ito, maliit lang, 3,000 to 4,000. Wala kami mahanap na solid basis ng IT fee. Basta 3,000 to 3,000 to 4,000 lang ang estimate. Yan, approximate. Arrears, yan, isa pang cost. Ako yung arrears ko na pinakamalaki ko na bayaran na arrears ay almost 70,000. Nahati ko 70,000, hindi Meralco, arrears ng Homeowners Association. Pero nahati ko, hindi na nga lahati yung babayaran ko. Meaning, nahati ko 2 gigs ko siya nabayaran. Okay? Pero the usual arrears would be the Homeowners Association dues, pag subdivision or village, pag condo dues. Siyempre, electricity, normally Meralco. Pag water, Maynilad or Manila Water. Yan. Ask the bank who will shoulder the arrears. Okay? And then get the billing statements and statement of account. Okay? Para alam nyo kung may arrears ba, sino mag-handle, or is it reimbursed lang, meaning babayaran mo muna and re-reimburse ka ng bank, or should you wait for the check from the bank, or should you wait for the bank to pay? Kasi sa ibang banks, for example, BPI, sila na bahala niyan. Sa RCBC, minsan, kailangan mo hintayin ng check, ikaw na mag-offer na bayaran mo, re-reimburse naman nila. Okay? Number 8, other fees. Siyempre, real estate broker fees, if you're going to sell, that would be around 5%, shouldered by the seller usually. Okay? For rentals, that is usually 1 month rent for 1 month rent for the annual lease. Okay? Norman says, ayos, kompleto na. Okay, thank you, Norman. Jamie says, is the arrears has interest? Yes. So, yon, maganda, very good question, Miss Jamie. For the interest, negotiate. Ask them to waive the interest. Ask them to waive the penalties. If you will be the one to shoulder. But if the bank will shoulder, let the bank be the one to negotiate kasi expert na sila dyan. Okay? Kasi sa banks nga, wini-waive nila lahat. Okay? Pinapa-waive nila lahat. Okay. Okay, Jeffrey says, sir, tax sa rental income. Ayan. Mamaya, mako-cover natin yan. Other fees, notarial fees, percentage of the contract price in the deed of absolute sale. Pagka nagbenta kayo, may deed of absolute sale, papanotarize yan, usually 1%. Okay? But, mas maganda kung fixed amount. Bakit fixed amount? Let's say 1 million yung property. Ano 1% nun? The 1 million, 10,000 kung 1%. Eh kung fixed amount, usually yung mga notary public dyan, 1,000 lang, 2,000 lang. Yung pinakamahal na nakita ko, 3,000 for a property that I sold. Property ko, binenta ko ng 1.2 million. Okay? Ang notarial fees namin, 3,100 o 3,200. Kailan lang yun? September lang, 2017. Okay? Doon lang namin pinanotarize. Okay? So, mas makakatipid kayo doon sa fixed amount na mga notaryo. Okay? Out-of-pocket expenses, syempre, facilitation of legwork doon sa yung paglakad ng titulo. Perfect example niyan, yung Conveyance Realty Services. Sila na yung tagalakad namin. Dati, Orion Maxis Inc. Ngayon, Conveyance. For each title transfer, mga 15,000 within Metro Manila. Either that, or hanap ka ng gagawa ng legwork, you pay for the daily rate nung sino man yun. Okay? Fuel or transpo, syempre consider mo yan, hindi naman free yan. Pati man hours nyo. Consider nyo yan kung sobrang daming time nyong ginugugol dun sa property. Consider nyo rin. Okay? Lalo na if you have to be absent from work, consider nyo yun. Man hours nyo, may penalty, para bang may cost involved. That's why you need to factor that in also. And anything for reimbursement. Monthly dues, yan na. If you are going to invest in a rental property, you have to continuously pay for monthly dues like the HOA dues, again, fixed amount per month, condo dues. Ang condo dues, uma-average siya ng 40 to 50 pesos per square sa mga matitinong condo. Sa HOA dues, depende sa village. Okay, dito sa BF Resort Village, Las Piñas, 150 per month, pero within the neighborhood, meron pa kaming 250. Okay, so depende. May ibang sa Antipolo, magkano yun? 500 per month. So depende sa area. To make it all easier, ito yung nasabi ko kanina, you can use my expense calculator where it computes for virtually everything. Okay? Pati na yung tax ROI, lahat na nandyan na. Okay? Pati amortization, kino-compute na yan. I will put this in the training area also. Okay? Any questions or comments, guys? It's already 4:27 and I believe we can finish everything on time. Okay? Next, how do you check? Okay. Norman is asking, how much fee for conveyance? So, if within Metro Manila, 15,000 yung title transfer, lahat nung legwork, 15,000. But, syempre, all the taxes, out of pocket nyo yun. Syempre. Okay. Sila lang, it's purely for the services. Okay. For the legwork. Okay. Thank you, Shoden. Okay. Now, will you profit or lose money? Eto. Madali lang naman to. Simple math. Again, simple math. It's very simple to find out if you will make money. Income, less expense, profit or loss. Okay? Ang kailangan nyo lang talaga, consider everything. Consider all sources of income. Consider all sources of expenses. And you have a very solid basis to know if it will really make money. So, income. Ano ba income? Proceeds of sale, rental income. Na-discuss na natin yan earlier. Yung sa ARV. Selling price. Pag rental property, rental income. Mas madali. But for the expenses, ano yun? Ito yung marami. Purchase cost, loan-related expenses, monthly amortization, taxes, repairs, arrears, transfer fees, other fees, out-of-pocket, maintenance. Which we covered na. Kakatapos lang natin kanina. Okay? Okay na. Buti na rin na umalis na si Mrs. kasi mas mabilis ko na matatapos to. Anyway. So, actually guys, ang key lang dito, consider everything. Hindi yung masyado kang optimistic and yet yung mga bagay na nagko-cost ng money, hindi nyo pinasok doon sa profit and loss computation. Pag hindi nyo ginawa yun, para kayong, investor ako, kumikita ang pera. Yung pala, meron kang expense na hindi na-consider. In effect, meron kang hindi dineclare na ginastos mo. Hindi mo alam kung kumita ka talaga. Which is why, dapat talaga lahat accounted for. Okay? As long as the difference is big enough, the deal is possibly a good deal. Okay? Ito pa. Accuracy. Ito, buti wala si Mrs. You need to be accurate when it comes to your estimates. Kasi, hindi nyo pa na... sa future nyo pa malalaman yung expenses eh. Which is why, estimating should be done properly para mas accurate. Okay? And another question that only you can answer is how big a profit is big enough for you. Okay? Ako, profit ko, gusto ko 20% to make it all worth it. Bakit? 20% is equivalent to 4 properties na i-broker ko for 5%. So, the work involved in brokering 4 foreclosed properties is so much more compared to flipping one property at 20% ROI. So, ako, yun ang gusto ko. We need to compute for the ROI para may basis ka to compare. Okay? And this will be covered next. Okay. If you have questions, type it in while I go through this quickly on how to compute for your ROI. Okay. So, why measure ROI? Again, na-mention ko na, so that you'll know if the returns are worth it. Ako nga, ROI ko, na net ha, target ko 20%. Pero kung napansin nyo, yung ARV ko, target ko 40% below. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Kinakain yung profit ng 20%. So, yung 40% na gap, nahahati siya, nagiging 20% lang, which is still worth it for me. Okay? Now, Pag may ROI ka, pwede mo i-compare sa other investments, obviously sa other properties, and other income sources. Ako yung na-mention ko kanina yung income source of brokering properties. So, kung ROI ko 20%, tapos ang brokerage fee, professional fee, 5%, pwede kasi katumbas nung isang flipping property is 4 na deals as a broker. What if pareho lang sila? Ang ROI ng isang property ay 5%, tapos pagiging broker 5% din. Doon na lang ako sa brokerage. I don't have to buy, renovate, and sell with all that is involved only to earn the same. Okay? So, i-broker ko na lang. So, yun ang reason bakit kailangan nyo ng ROI. Okay? And, of course, you compare it to your goal. Ako, goal ko 20%. And that will be the way you can decide if it's go or no go or deal or no deal. Okay? And ROI is usually computed in percentage per year. All costs and expenses, again, must be considered. Lagi kong sinasabi. Okay. Last part na tayo. In its most basic form, how do you compute for the ROI? So, ROI, very simple formula to. Not just for real estate, but for anything na gusto mo i-compute na ang returns mo. ROI is equal to the income from the investment minus the total cost of the investment all over total cost of investment. So, umulit lang yung total cost of investment kasi you're actually looking for the difference. Ano ba yung difference? Yun yung profit mo or loss. And divide it by lahat again. Uulit mo lahat ng nilabas mo. And you get your ROI. Again, compute, you have to multiply by 100 para maging percent. Ayun, lumabas. Naka-delayed animation pala yun. Okay. So, in effect, yung nasa taas, it's actually your profit. The income from investment minus total cost, that is actually your profit. And if you divide that by the total cost, that is your ROI. So, example, kotse. Kotse muna. If I buy a car for 350,000 and sell at 450,000, what would be my ROI? Okay. Let's plug it in to the formula. 450,000 ang selling ko minus 350,000, yun yung cost. All divided by 350,000. So, in effect, ang profit ko 100,000. Again, ano to simplified version to. Divided by 350,000, magiging 28.57%. Not bad for this example. Okay? Pero hindi pa na-consider dito yung taxes. So, gross ROI to, ha? What if, ayan, foreclosed property na. What if I buy a foreclosed property for 1.2 and sell for 1.9? What would be my gross ROI? So, plug it in to the formula. 1.9 minus 1.2 divided by 1.2. So, ang profit ko dito, gross profit ko would be 700,000. 700,000 divided by 1.9 would be 58.33%. So, ang taas. Pero, keep in mind, gross. Gross pa lang to. Hindi pa natin na-factor in yung na-discuss ko ng mga cost and expenses in the previous slide. So, gross to. That means, in real estate, you have to consider a lot of costs and expenses to compute for the real ROI. Ano yung real ROI? Yung net ROI. Okay? And, baka tinatanong nyo, madali ito i-compute kung flipping. Okay? How about rentals? Remember yung gross rental yield? Pag kinompute mo yung annual nun, yun na yung gross ROI mo pagka rentals. Okay? Again, marami pa tayong dapat i-consider. So, meron tayong advanced ROI analysis that will be covered in an advanced module. Okay? So, that's it. Kaya naman tapusin eh. Kung wala lang kung walang makikialam. Okay. So, anyway, that's it. We covered everything. So, you have questions or comments, please type it in the chat. So, I already see from Miss Jail. Say we computed an average to potentially good, in this case, 0.5% to 1% gross rental yield. Do you advise to execute due diligence as a succeeding action or process, or first make an offer to the bank? Okay. Ganito yan. If this location is already familiar to you, teritoryo niya yan, sanay na kayo, then maybe it's time to submit an offer. Bakit? Perfect example yung kay Mrs. na by the time that we realize that it's possibly a good deal, sold na siya. Okay. And that only means we need to decide faster. Ngayon, just like here in Las Piñas, when we saw a property that was not really spectacular, but it was above average, hapon, nag-offer na kami. Nag-earnest money na kami. Okay? Pero yun, hindi foreclosed. Pero my point is, kailangan bilisan mo. True enough, kami nakabili. Ngayon, for foreclosed properties, ganun din. So, kung kabisado mo na to, yes. And, ang magandang example is BPI Buena Mano. Kasi, sa kanila, pag nag-offer ka, walang reservation fee. Pwede ka mag-offer na walang cash out. Yung risk mo virtually, wala. Kasi wala kang perang mafo-forfeit. Yes, mag-offer ka na kaagad. Okay? Ngayon, kung hindi siya for negotiated sale, kung for public auction, o di yun, you have time to do your due diligence up to the day of the auction. Okay? So, thank you, Miss Jail. And Shoden says, that's amazing that your car actually grew in market value. Okay. Yung example na yun, Shoden, for example, repossessed car siya. Repossessed car na nirepossess ni Bangko. Si Bangko, hindi lahat ng bangko binebenta for the loan amount lang na kailangan nilang bawiin. Pero meron bangko na ganun. Which is why the selling price is very low compared to the actual going rate sa labas. Okay? Doon ka lang pwede kumita. Yun. Okay. Norman says, okay. Mr. Jail pala. Sorry po. Sorry. Juan says, thank you, sir. Thank you. Very helpful, sir. Oh, you're welcome, Juan. Nako. I should be the one thanking you guys for the patience. Okay. Amazing. Salamat, Jay. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much for the feedback. And I'm so happy kasi parang kaya ako gusto ng workshop. Mas sure ako na naintindihan nyo yung training instead of just videos na yes, of course, pwede kayo magtanong, pero yung pag-process nung topic, alam ko, nakikita ko based on your series of questions. And I'm happy na ganun. Okay. Shoden says, wow, nga pala, I'll hunt for cars. Okay. Jeffrey says, sir, worth it ba mag-broker license pag mag-full-time real estate investor ka? Why? Okay. Very good question, Jeffrey. So again, depende sa market mo. For example, yung question ko kanina, worth it ba mag-broker? For me, yes. For the properties na ang baba ng ROI. Again, 5% lang ang kikitain. Kung i-flip, edi wag ko na i-flip. Ibenta ko na lang as a broker. So, go na kagad. I don't need any cash out. Pero, syempre, ano ba investment ko as a broker? Nag-invest ako for the training, nag-invest ako for the exam, yung time for all the review, etc. So, yun ang pinaka-investment ko. Ngayon, meron kayong classmate na broker siya, pero hindi siya maka-invest sa foreclosed properties. Why? Grabe kasi yung market niya. Yung properties na binobroker niya, high-end. Let's say, mga 10M above. So, it does not make sense to flip properties na tagto 2 million, 5 million, if you can broker a property 10M above. Okay? So, para bang because of that, I told him na, yes, continue with your brokerage. Kasi obviously, mas malaking kita mo dyan. But, if you see a good deal, worth it, that will be better use of your time compared dyan sa kinikita mong napakalaki sa brokerage, then yun lang ang i-go mo. So, I believe big deals dapat sa kanya. Okay? So, for you guys, for Jeffrey, magandang backup ang pagiging broker. Kasi, for those properties na talagang walang sense na i-flip, kahit sabi mo kumita ka 5%, walang sense kung pwede mo na i-broker at 5%. So yun, ganun. Tsaka, maganda rin ang pagiging broker for those months or years na talagang wala ka makitang good deals. E di mag-broker ka on the side. Okay? Okay, next question from Norman. 0.6% gross is acceptable. For me, kung 5% at 0.5% ang average, anything above the average is worth looking into. Okay? Ngayon, kung 0.6 gross, posible pa yan na hindi positive cash flow. Okay? To be honest, kung ipasok mo yung vacancy rate, pasok mo yung maintenance, yung magtatabi ka ng pera for the maintenance and property management, baka mag-negative cash flow ka pa kung 0.6 lang. Actually, lahat ng mga 0.5% at ilo-loan mo yon, more often than not, negative cash flow yun. Okay? So, you have to push the numbers. Ako, yung usual solution doon, paano maging positive cash flow? Tataasan mo yung down payment mo. Of course, lalabas ka ng pera upfront. But, you are assured that the monthly rent can cover the remaining monthly amortizations. Ayun. Okay? Thank you, Norman, and welcome, Jeffrey. Okay. So, wow. Naka 2 hours and 44 minutes na tayo. 4:44 na. Okay? So, kaya naman tapusin tong seminar kahit 116 slides. Okay. Oh, thank you for the feedback, Miss Lourdes. Thank you rin, Shoden-san. Thank you so much. And, guys, alam ko meron tayong mga na-discuss dito na medyo, kung bago sa inyo, hindi ko in-expect na ma-absorb nyo lahat. Pero yung pinaka-important, yung at any given time, may makita yung property, kaya nyo na i-compute using your phone. I hope ma-imbibe nyo. Yung tipong, kada may makita kayong property, parang siya, good deal to. Kasi, yung replacement cost niya, ganito lang. Or replacement cost, ganito. Pero, ang selling price, ang baba. Alam niyo yun, yung mabilis nyo makikita kung possibly good deal or not. Pero again, hindi porket malaking gap, bibiliin nyo kaagad. Kasi, hindi ganon. Mag-due diligence pa kayo, which is covered in another core module. Okay? I think it's the third. Okay? Third ba? Okay. Okay, so other questions, guys. Sorry, medyo na-carried away ako. Norman says, okay sir, see you next session. Mag-leave ulit ako sa work. Nako, guys. Na-notice ko kasi, may nakita akong pattern. Marami sa inyo na wala dito ang nag-email sa akin that hindi sila makaka-attend ng live session because they have work, which means they cannot leave. They cannot get a leave of absence. So, guys, ang kino-consider ko, yung Saturday section kasi, matatapos na in 3 weeks. Meaning, last 3 advanced modules na lang yung Saturday session. And then, bakante na yung Saturdays ko. Ngayon, kung okay sa inyo guys, we can either move or iba-iba. Meaning, this week, Thursday, next week, Saturday, again, Thursday, again, Saturday. So, ganun. So, I'm thinking, wala lang, brainstorm ako kung paano mas marami sa inyo maka-attend ng live. Okay? Yun. Let me know guys. Anyway, I will email all of you on how to go about it. I will probably send a survey. Okay? Create a survey for that. Okay? Ano pa ba? Reminders. If you have not yet joined the FB group, please join kasi marami tayong discussion there. Speaking of FB group, oh my, sorry. Hindi ko ata na-check ever kung merong questions sa FB group. Let me just go to Facebook. Okay? Wala naman. Walang questions. Okay, fine. Okay. That's good. At least, nakafocus tayo dito sa Zoom. Okay? Going back sa slides. Oh, guys, meron pa ba kayong questions? Any feedback? Isa siguro. Nakalimutan ko yan na yung dapat meron din tayong feedback form per workshop so that I will know things to improve. Ako, ito, obviously, things to improve yung grinder, etc. Tsaka yung dapat meron akong tao talaga na nag-handle ng support while we are on a workshop. Okay? Any other comments, suggestions, feedback would be welcome. Okay. So, ayun. Any other questions, guys, before we call it a day? Again, thank you so much for spending time here in this very foundational and andito kasi yung principles na dapat mag-get nyo and then we can move on to the next and the next and the next. Okay? Sabi Norman, thanks sir, love you. Okay ka, Norman, nakakatawa. Sige, thank you, love you too guys. Okay, I love everyone. Okay, kasi actually very proud ako sa inyong lahat. Okay? Hopefully guys, i-pay it forward nyo to ha, sa mga kamag-anak nyo ha. Ayokong makakabalita na merong mga nai-scam pa dyan ha, kasi isa yan sa mga goals ng training na to. Of course, hindi lang yung hindi na-scam, dapat kumikita. Kasi nga, we invest, there should be a return. Okay? So, without any additional questions, I guess, let's call it a day. So, one last shout out to everyone. Thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, Jael. Thank you, Jenaline. Thank you, Juan Carlos. Or tama ba? JC na lang, Juan Carlos. Thank you, Lourdes. Thank you, Manuel. Thank you, Norman. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Shoden-san. Okay. Yan. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day. Bye. Ayun. Thank you rin, Sir Jet and JC. Okay. Bye.